Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
You can set the formatting of selected chart items by first selecting the individual item within the chart area that has the appearance that you wish to change. In Crystal Reports 11, you can then choose Chart from the menu bar and choose Format and then the object name from the top of the menu bar drop-down. Or you can just right-click on the selected chart element and choose Format and then the name of the object from the pop-up menu which appears. In the Format Object Name dialog box which appears, there are various tabs which you can use to change the appearance of the selected item. The specific tabs available will depend entirely on the type of object selected. Common tabs that are available for many objects are Font, Line, Border, Layout, and Fill. Depending on what object was selected, note that some of these tabs may appear completely unavailable for use. So for example, if there was no text associated with the selected chart object, then the Font tab would appear unavailable. On the Font tab, you can set the style of text displayed in the selected object. Use the drop-downs on this tab to make your desired changes. You can change the font face used by selecting a choice from the Font drop-down. You can add bolding or italics by clicking either the B or I button as desired. You can then click one of the buttons available to set the horizontal alignment of the text within the selected object. You can select either Align Left, Align Center, or Align Right. You can click the Color drop-down to pick a font color from the colors displayed in the color cubes within the drop-down menu. If you wish to create a custom color, you can click the More command at the bottom of the drop-down to open the color dialog box where you can create and set a custom color. You can then use the Size drop-down to select a font size. Use the Frame drop-down to select a style of border for the selected text. The options that you choose can be viewed in the Preview window at the bottom of this tab. If you happen to have the Line tab, which is usually only for your axes, then you can set the color of the selected line of the chart item using the Color drop-down. You can then use the Style and Thickness drop-downs to set the desired line style and thickness for the selected line, which you should be able to see once again in the Preview window at the bottom. On the Border tab, you can set the color of the border for the selected chart item using the Color drop-down. Then once again use the Style and Thickness drop-downs to set the desired line style and thickness for the border of the selected object. On the Layout tab, you can set the appearance of the legend and labels in the chart. Use the checkboxes and drop-downs on this tab to make your desired selections. The exact options available in this tab will depend on the type of chart which you do have selected. On the Fill tab, you can set the fill or interior color of the selected chart object. You can apply a simple color choice using the color cubes available from the foreground color drop-down. However, if you would like a more sophisticated appearance, you can make use of the pattern, gradient, texture, and picture buttons to apply a more interesting fill effect than just a simple color. If you'd like to apply a pattern to an object, click the Pattern button to open the Choose a Pattern dialog box. In this dialog box, select a pattern that you want to use as the fill pattern from the choices listed at the left. You can then set the foreground and background colors to use by clicking the Paint Can button next to each label and selecting the desired choice from the drop-down menu of color cube choices. The pattern that you've selected will be displayed in the preview square, and when you have the desired pattern set, you can click OK to return to the Fill tab in the Format Object Name dialog box. You can apply a gradient by clicking the Gradient button to open the Choose a Gradient to Apply to the Selected Areas dialog box. Here you can simply click on the type of gradient that you wish to apply from the list shown, and then click OK to apply the selected gradient. If you wish to create your own customized gradient, then you can instead click the Advanced Options button to expand the dialog box. To the right then, you can create and customize your own gradients. You can begin to create a gradient by selecting a preset gradient from the list that is as similar as possible to the gradient that you would like to create. You could also use the drop-down below the gradient preview to select the name of a preset gradient to use, or you can click the arrow buttons below that to scan through the list of presets until you find the one that you want. You can change the colors used in the displayed gradient by clicking the Paint Can buttons shown at either end of the gradient strip, and then selecting the desired color to use. You can change the type of gradient pattern used by selecting either linear, circular, or the rectangular options. You can then use the angle and horizontal offset and vertical offset to change the direction and angle of the gradient. You can also use the sliders on either side of the gradient to make these same changes. When you've created the desired gradient, you can then click a button to save or dismiss your changes. You can click the Save button to save your changes and overwrite the preset gradient. You can click the Save As button to invoke the Enter the Gradient Preset Name dialog box, where you can type a new name for the gradient which you've created, and then just click OK to save the gradient. You can click the Duplicate button to create a duplicate copy of the current gradient desired. You can delete a gradient by simply clicking the Delete button. You can rename a gradient by clicking the Rename button and then typing the new name into the Enter the Gradient Preset Name dialog box. Once you've made any changes to the gradient that you want, you can just simply click OK to return to the Fill tab of the Format Object Name dialog box. You can apply a texture to a selected chart object by clicking the Texture button on the Fill tab of the Format Object Name dialog box, and this opens the Choose a Texture to Apply to the Selected Areas dialog box. You can click on the name of the tab that contains the type of texture that you would like to use, like gray, marble, granite, whatever you prefer. You can then scroll through the list of available textures on this tab and click on the one that you would like to use. If you click the Advanced Options button, you will view the expanded dialog box. And here you can choose additional customization options for your texture by choosing the desired option buttons. The changes that you select can be seen in the preview box at the right side. When you've selected the desired texture and set any additional options you'd like to apply, just simply click OK to return to the Format Object Name dialog box. If you want to use a picture as the fill effect for the selected chart object, then click the Picture button in the Fill tab to open the Choose a Picture dialog box. You can select one of the pieces of clip art displayed by simply clicking on it. If you wish to set any additional options, you can click the Advanced Options button to expand the dialog box to the right. You can click the checkbox for Pictograph Scale Picture to Grid Unit to fit one entire picture within each major grid unit of the data series of a bar chart. You can then select one of the display options for flipping the image from the four shown. If you wish to browse for a piece of clip art to use from your computer or network, you can click the Browse button to launch the open dialog box. You can then navigate to the folder that contains the clip art or .wmf file that you wish to use in the report. Select the file and click the Open button to return back to the Choose a Picture dialog box. And then just click OK when you're ready to return to the Fill tab of the Format Object Name dialog box. After you've set any desired formatting options for the selected chart element in the Format Object Name dialog box, you would simply click OK to apply the selected formatting.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.